CBS News has new reporting on how the U.S. Army is ending a pioneering experiment in drone warfare. The Ukraine war and the conflicts in the Middle East have been a wake-up call for the military. The Army has been trying to adapt with the help of a special drone battalion. Now, the service's top brass are moving to shut it down. CBS News national security analyst MacLean joins us now to talk about this. So, Aaron, this is fascinating. Why was this Army unit created, and why is it being phased out so quickly?
Hey, good morning, Vlad. This so-called unmanned assault battalion was established last year to learn the lessons of drone warfare from the war in Ukraine. This unit's based in Europe, obviously next to the war in Ukraine, to assimilate those lessons in, to do its own training, and then disseminate out what it's learned to elsewhere in the Army. Now the Army says that this project is no longer needed, at least not in this form, and that this unit will be returned to, quote, core warfighting tasks. That's what we know right now.
Yeah, and that is something that the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, has talked a lot about. But we understand that there's some reporting that seems to be the fact that there's some disagreement among senior Army leaders over this decision. What are you learning?
So CBS News has learned that there appear to be some pretty significant interpersonal tensions that are behind, or at least have some role in this decision. It seems that the current acting Army Chief of Staff, General Christopher Leneve, was at some point in the past, quote-unquote, soft relieved from his role as commander of the 82nd Airborne Division. The officers who asked him to leave that job early are the same officers that set up this experimental drone battalion, to include his immediate predecessor as Chief of Staff of the Army, General Randy George. And it seems that the simmering tensions that were a result of those personnel disagreements have played a role in this decision, a pretty striking turn of events considering the importance of drone warfare and the substance of what we're talking about.
Well, that's the question I have for you, Aaron. This program was actually meant to address the future needs of the U.S. Army and the U.S. military, given that we've seen extensive use of drones in the war with Iran and certainly in the war between Ukraine and Russia. Won't this decision slow down the U.S. Army's ability to compete on the battlefield, where we've seen drone warfare transform those battlefields?
Well, I'll tell you, Vlad, what's striking about this decision is we don't know what the plan B is. There's no reason why a unit like this is the only way to assimilate the lessons of drone warfare into the Army. But if it's not the answer, what is the answer? Are all units going to be doing this? Will there be different specialized units? We don't know. It's not clear that the Army has a plan. Other services are working on their own plans. The Department of War as a whole is working on it. But for the Army right now, it's a big question mark.
So here's another question for you, Jared, and maybe this is a sign of where things stand today. There was there was a mock drone battle between the U.S. and the Ukrainian forces, and according to some of the reporting, sources say the U.S. military was soundly defeated by the Ukrainians. What can you tell me about that?
Well, Vlad, I don't know if you're a video game guy. Personally, I'm not. But in video games, when your character gets killed, it can be, quote-unquote, respawned. That's what had to happen in this exercise. So many American units were killed within the context of the exercise that they had to respawn them to keep the exercise going because the Ukrainian side was doing so well. The United States military is not yet where it needs to be on drone warfare.
Wow. All right. Really quickly, tying into this conversation about combat readiness, the USS Lincoln is now switching out. The USS George Washington is coming in. This has been a long topic amongst you and others in the defense world. What are the concerns about the USS Lincoln, and what could we expect from the US George Washington?
Well, that sure was a long deployment for the Lincoln, and it seems to have imposed some real hardships on the sailors aboard. We don't know how long the Washington is going to be there, but I will tell you this, Vlad, as long as this blockade continues and as long as there's sustained economic warfare against Iran, you're going to need something like the Washington or the Lincoln on station there, and that's going to impose costs elsewhere in the world, to include in the Pacific.
Yeah, for sure. Questions as to whether we're prepared for a prolonged war. Aaron MacLean, always good to have you, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, Vlad.